What's up guys, my name is Ace, and in Black Ops Cold War's multiplayer, we got a brand new Scorestreak with Season 5, and this is the Flamethrower. So in today's video, I just wanted to do a really quick breakdown to let you guys know exactly how this Flamethrower works, and then I wanted to share my opinion on it as well toward the end of the video. And hopping right into it, the Flamethrower is actually a fairly low-value score streak at just 1,500 score to earn, so it's much easier to earn compared to many of its counterparts like the Death Machine or the Annihilator or the War Machine. And just like those streaks, any kills that you get with the Flamethrower will provide you with the same amount of score as you would get as a kill with your gun. And this also contributes to your streak multiplier. Unlike a lot of the aerial streaks that just sort of get kills for you, those will just give you a flat amount of score per kill. Not with the Flamethrower. So that is one of the big benefits of using the Flamethrower. It's also worth noting that it has a 90-second cooldown, which is fairly standard for this game. And with this, if the enemy isn't using Flak Jacket, you're going to be dealing 80 damage per tick. And each one of these ticks will happen in 200 millisecond intervals, and therefore its time to kill against an enemy that's not using Flak Jacket is 200 milliseconds, which is extremely fast. You're going to be dominating pretty much everything up close with this, as long as the enemy's not using Flak Jacket. However, as most of us know, most players out there are going to be using the Flak Jacket perk. And when Flak Jacket enters the equation, we actually get a very inconsistent damage profile. It's really strange. I tried to work out and understand how this works, but I don't get it. I'll share with you guys what I found. I was able to count the exact amount of damage per tick against a Flak Jacket user, and on the first tick, we dealt 27 damage, second tick was 10 damage, third tick was 33 damage, fourth tick was 27 damage again, fifth one was 23 damage, sixth one was 22, and then finally, to finish off the kill, we dealt 8 damage for a total of 150 damage, and that's how much health we have in Cold War. So when it comes to this damage profile, I have no idea why there's such a large inconsistency between ticks. But the main thing to point out here is it's going to take 7 ticks total, and therefore our time to kill potential against a Flak Jacket user is 1.2 seconds from the moment you start dealing damage to them. And that is an extremely slow time to kill if you're comparing it to any one of the guns in the game. And what this is going to result in is a lot of either kill trades or just Flak Jacket users straight up outgunning you while using a Flamethrower. And it pretty much destroys the effectiveness of the Flamethrower. Now, it really doesn't take a whole lot to kill a Flak Jacket user. If you're taking them off guard, you're still going to be able to kill them just fine. It's just if you end up in one of those face-to-face fights where you both react at the same time, the most likely outcome of that situation is a kill trade, which you don't really want, especially with one of your score streaks that you've worked your score up to earn. Additionally, just to point out the discrepancy between a Flak Jacket user and a non-Flak Jacket user on the enemy team, if the enemy isn't using Flak Jacket, you can just do a really quick sweep across them with your Flamethrower, and they're going to die pretty much instantly. Whereas if you try that same technique against a Flak Jacket user, you're not likely going to be fully killing them. You're going to deal a lot of damage, but you won't completely kill them, and then they will likely kill you. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the damage of the Flamethrower. Now let's have a look at our ranges. And it turns out our maximum range with the Flamethrower is pretty impressive, actually, at 16 meters. However, the way they coded this is actually quite interesting. The further you get away, the longer you have to hold down the trigger on your Flamethrower so that the flames will actually reach your target. And that actually kind of mimics real life. Like if you were to just tap a Flamethrower, you just get a small burst of flames coming out, but it wouldn't go very far because you don't have the flames behind it, pushing it even further. And what this means for the gameplay is if you are at a long distance, it's going to take a lot more effort to be hitting your target and finishing the kill on your target as well. Especially if they're moving around and they've got Flak Jacket, it's going to be hard to like stay on target and make sure you're dealing enough damage to them. Whereas if they're right up close and personal, that damage starts hitting them immediately. You don't have to hold that trigger for very long. You can basically just tap it against a non-Flak Jacket user. And then even against a Flak Jacket user, you don't have to hold it down for very long in order to get that kill. So it is in your best interest to get as close as possible with the Flamethrower in order to ensure that you're not wasting too much of your propellant. And speaking of that propellant, we get 30 ticks of propellant. And assuming you're not being really wasteful, this should allow you to get at least about 4 or 5 kills, assuming you manage to stay alive for the entire use of the Flamethrower. You should easily get 4 to 5 kills, but you could even get more, especially if you're running into teams that aren't using Flak Jacket, with a single use of the Flamethrower. Now, one last little characteristic to mention here is with the Flamethrower, if you are using it and you realize you want to take on a long-range fight, for instance, you can actually swap weapons, put the Flamethrower away, and then you can pull out your gun and use your gun for a bit. And as long as you don't die at all, as long as it's the same life, you can pull that flamethrower back out again and you'll have the same amount of propellant left over as you did when you swapped to your guns. So that's something to keep in mind, and it's very valuable information if you are playing on a map where there's a lot of long-range situations you want to get yourself into, as well as close-range situations. You can swap back and forth, but just keep in mind, if you die at any point in that process, it will reset your flamethrower. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I think the flamethrower is pretty basic. As for my opinion on the flamethrower, I personally don't see myself using this at all, simply due to the fact that almost every single enemy that I'm going to run into is going to be using Flak Jacket, which significantly reduces the effectiveness of the flamethrower. But having said that, it is also quite cheap to earn a flamethrower. So I do feel like that kind of balances it out. So if you want to use it, it's not a terrible choice for you. You just have to make sure that you're taking enemies off guard with it. Otherwise, if they've got Flak Jacket, you're going to run into a lot of kill trades. But yeah, those are the stats. That's my opinion. I'd like to hear in the comment section below, what do you guys think about the flamethrower so far in Cold War's multiplayer? Do you like this score streak? Do you dislike it? What sort of tweaks would you make to it, if any? Just let me know all of those thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.